Welcome back to another video. Ever since this conflict in Ukraine has started, obviously the West, like the European Union, had inflicted sanctions on Russian assets or Russian interests in Europe, seizing property, bank accounts, banning Russian media platforms, whether TV or web, to operate freely in Europe or in the West in the name of Russian propaganda. And the fact is, the powers that be in the West, with all this money which they seized, they're funding the Ukrainians to fight the Russians. And this is a NATO proxy war against Russia. And we're only hearing one part of the narrative of this so-called conflict. This is called censorship. And even independent sources or journalism, they've been censored or sanctioned to give voice to the Russian side. I ask myself, do we live in a democracy? No. This is a globalist regime which is imposing himself. You don't go along with that narrative, you get sanctioned, you get outcasted or banned. This is a way of modern way of not picking some up in the middle of the night from their house, dragged away in a dark car and not to be seen anymore. Obviously tyrants have become a bit more sophisticated to ban people, to create dissidents, consider them as outcasts in this manner. And obviously it's a propaganda tool to lure people into a narrative, creation of a so-called boogeyman or an scapegoat for all the problems which suddenly the West is victim of. The sanctions is due to the Russians. No. You impose sanctions on a country which never worked, like Iran, which did in 1979. It didn't stop them. They became more resilient. And even the Russians have learnt this lesson as well. The fact is, we are vulnerable because all the materials and resources which we need, we have to import them. We don't mine anything anymore. We do not assemble or build anything anymore in the continent of Europe. And therefore, in the case of a forthcoming war, we will be just wiped off the face of the earth because we haven't got the resources, the manufacturing capacity to do things, let alone in peacetime. Because China, for starters, they have an industrial capacity which is more greater than America when they were in war mode, a war economy during the Second World War. Because the countries, they know how the West behave, and they're preparing themselves for the day they have to face the West. And the fact is, no one will tell you the West is not prepared to face a war with these nuclear powers. It's not just Russia, not just China, not just Iran, and not just North Korea. Altogether, There can be a combined war machine. And obviously they have a more well-prepared society for these events than we do. And plus, regarding their defence, they're technologically more developed, more equipped, more battle-ready trained to face such an event. What happens? It's globalism wokeness. We've been brainwashed in the last few years. Make people weak mentally. Just even thought you have to go to war, go on the battlefield, dodge bullets, dodge artillery shells, drone attacks and stuff like that. We're not battle ready to face them if we have to go to war with these people. They know the powers that be, but the population know. Because those people, if something happens, there'll be bunkers, so-called continuity of governments. Whilst the population, in the so-called nuclear attack, 90% of people were perishing within 1 year. So, in a certain way, they are preparing for war against Russia and other countries which are allied with them, with Russia. And we're not ready, the population. Not even conventionally speaking ready. If the West want to have an advantage over these people and hit them hard in numbers, you're going to have to use nuclear tactical weapons on the battlefield. And we've seen other regional conflicts flaring up, like Pakistan and India. They are nuclear powers. One's crazy enough to use them.